Welcome back to the Corporate Culture Clash track. Many of them have started their career during the pandemic, and by 2030, they're expected to constitute 30% of the global workforce. They're on the top of the minds of leaders and managers of all departments and levels. You know who I'm talking about, right? Generation Z, the young professionals of this moment. So how can we disrupt and secure young talent acquisition and explore new corporate cultures? Our next speaker, Jan Grossmann, COO of B&B Hotels Central and Northern Europe, will share his insight on this very exciting topic dear to my heart, and during the next keynote. Jan has followed an interesting and very unconventional career path, working in military, retail, consulting, and HR. Before stepping into his current role, Jan was head of HR strategy at Galeria Karstadt Kaufhof, where he has modernized corporate structures, always following his guiding principle, people first. Right after the keynote, we will continue the conversation with a panel hosted by Mark Weitzman. Mark is the CEO of Let's Talk Hospitality, with over 30 years of experience in hospitality, working for big hotel brands such as Hilton, Accor, and Holiday Inn. Mark has spent the past 17 years helping businesses rethinking their talent and leadership strategies. But before we get to the panel, let's hear from our keynote speaker, Jan Grossmann.
Thank you for this warm welcome, and thank you for being here on the third day of ITB. It's Thursday, it's a long fair so far, many speeches, many keynotes, many impressions, so thank you for being here. And my pleasure to start with this keynote, and time's running, and I try to give you this first insight, really stay focused on some charts, some key facts and insights, what's my perspective on the topic, and maybe for you to take something for you away in your job, in your daily business. So let's start. Coming from in private equity, so private equity means always KPI-driven, performance-driven, and numbers, and ask myself, okay, how to start with this one? And usually you start with, we've got a VUCA world, in Germany especially, we've got this shift from old to new, many old people, less young people, and the struggle in between. And I said, okay, I don't want to do this one as usual others do, and I start with some other numbers. The first one is 10 to 20. Just think, and maybe you've got an answer. My answer is 10 to 12, 10 to 20 people apply for one job so that you're able to find one. So you have to gain 10 to 20 people, they apply, and you can choose. But if you only have got one apply, no apply, two apply, most probably this won't be the perfect match. So 10 to 20 until you can find your perfect match. 1.57 million. Next number, that's the amount of free roles in Germany. 1.57 million open positions. So every one of you can choose every day, every second, every minute to say, look, I don't like my company actually now. I don't like my role anymore. And most probably, you can change and move on. 46 million is one number, means, okay, that's the whole pool in Germany at least. That's the possible people who could work for you. So, the last number is the one you have got to people who shift their jobs within 1 year. Yes, always there's a chance you can find some other numbers, but 3 million people really changed their job. So that's to give you the insight, what's the amount we are talking about. And to go a little bit further, I start with, okay, how can you attract these talents, these peoples to your company, and what to look at? For me, this one is core, the big picture I call it, and it has to be seen as one. So, just give you a second yourself and think, what are you actually doing to attract talent people, the young generation, talent overall? And do you consider this as the whole picture, as you can see it, with all its stages? Or, and that's what my experience is, do you focus on one of these stages? Let me make one example. In my experience, huge companies have got this really huge invest into employer branding, employer marketing to attract people. The people that think, hey, that's it, I'm gonna join, they join, and the first day the welcome is, who are you? Are you joining? Oh, we didn't know you're joining the company. You need a laptop? Sorry, we don't have a laptop. Actually, do you have got your own device? So, can you bring your own device? Because it will take us 2 months until you've got a laptop. Or people sitting in the lobby in the entrance, and no one is taking care about them. So, that's if you only focus on getting people into the circle, attraction. Going to recruitment, going to the topic of onboarding, going to the topic of development, and going to retention and separation. So every step of this circle has to be considered as a whole big picture. And I really invite you to go out after this keynote, maybe sit down tomorrow, sit down next week, look at your company, and go through this big picture and be honest to yourself, what are you doing in which stage? And if you recognize you really invest in only one stage or in 2 stages, and the others you don't consider, you've got a problem. A problem you can solve, but you've got a problem. So you should look at this one, because I can tell you, the weakest stage you have, this one will go to your culture. This one will be the breaking point where people leave you. This one will the level you're going against. The weakest point in this change, people decide to say, yeah, that's mine, or that's not my company. All right, if we take this big picture, then let's go forward. Reality check. Ask yourself, as I said again, where are you standing and how do you search? And if you look at this whole circle and every step and every insight of this, would you yourself go and apply for this company today, now? And if you say, guys, I'm working there, I'm happy and such nice colleagues and good culture, but if I look at my career page and I wouldn't apply again, go to your HR team, go to your operations team, go to whomever you have to talk to and say, look guys, one more mistake. But besides this one, 4 takeaways for today. The first one, if you want to solve something, yeah, I know it's boring and everyone is talking about this one, but it's core, it's digitalization, especially in the HR world and the people world. So you need one HRS as single point of truth. If you don't have one, why? Because the train is rushing. You have data protection, you have to be fast, you have to be quick in your answers, you have to be a business partner to other departments to give them answers about sickness rates, space of your recruiting per funnel, and so on. So HRIS, first step, fundament to build your house in the topic of talent acquisition, development, and so on. That's core. Second one, storytelling. What do I mean with this one? Let's consider the topic of attraction, your job descriptions, where you can apply, and read through them, and if you recognize it's like a tabellaric situation and you have to bring with 5 years of English, 4 years of whatever, master degree, and so on, you will cut out of your funnel many people, and to be honest, especially sometimes and often women, because they go through this tabellaric job description and say, only if I reach 100% in this one, what they are searching for, then I'm going to apply, maybe. But if you are at 60%, the woman, she will not apply most probably. Only men will apply on this one because we men say, come on guys, 60% enough, I can do this. So that's typical. You can go to studies and say, hey, are you telling stories about your company, or is it really a 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4 step? So your second chance, quite easy. Third tip on my side, where's your target group? So let me do one example. You are a truck driving company and you look for truck drivers. They won't be on LinkedIn. Maybe some of them, but most probably they won't be on LinkedIn. They will be on the highways, on the petrol station. There you can find them. There you can see the trucks. So go there, move your butt, go there, meet them. That's one clear example. But you also can say, let's take the IT guys. They've got Honeypot, so that's their community, and they go there. You have to be there if you want to find people, young people on Honeypot. They won't go to Facebook, for example. Sorry to say. So on the other hand, where is your target group? Which is the platform? And the target group is deciding where you should be. And the fourth one is the evaluation and the trust and culture. What do I mean with this one? Ask your people you have about the situation. Look back to the circle I did show you, and make surveys and ask them and say, look, what do you think about our onboarding? What do you think about our employer branding? What do you think about our HRIS? Is it really good or is it bad? Be honest and trust this one, because they know from their everyday business how you are, and they will tell you if you trust them, and you've got a good culture in the end of trust. And yeah, you appreciate this one if you ask your people. So go out and evaluate. So these 4 things: digitalization, storytelling, target group check, and evaluation, combined with the big picture, will give you, on my perspective, a good starting point if you go to this point for how to attract new people, how to build up your culture of trust, how to find young people, which we all need in hospitality, but besides also need in other branches, but especially in hospitality. And with these words, thank you.
Jan, thank you very much for your keynote. Very interesting point that you brought up here on the stage. I'm happy that you're here joining our panel. Okay, you can take a seat.
I will, thank you.
I'm going to welcome every one of you to this panel and to invite another expert for this discussion that we have. And I would like to introduce Nina von Bülow. With a strong background in strategy, business controlling, and HR management, she brings valuable insights into the changing workplace. After years in management consulting and leadership role in strategy and business controlling, she is now Director HR Group at Tour. In this role, she guides the company's international HR strategies and strengthens collaboration across different regions. Beyond her impressive career, she also balances another important role, being a mother of 2 young children, aged 3 and 8 months. And she knows firsthand what it takes to manage both a career and a family life. Please join me welcoming Nina von Bülow. Just take a seat next to Jan. Okay. So the next one who will join our panel, and we are very honored to welcome a leading expert in human resources and talent development of Accor, Fanny Lord. Fanny joined Accor in 2005, and over the past 20 years, her expertise, passion, and strategic vision have had a lasting impact. She has held key HR leadership roles, driving transformation and innovation across the company. Since 2017, Fanny became Vice President of Strategic HR Projects and leads some of Accor's most important structural changes. Since 2020, she has been Senior Vice President, Talent Experience and To sum up funny in just 2 words, super transformer. Okay? So, but beyond her career, Fanny is also a proud mother of her 6-year-old daughter, Lou. And when she is not shaping the future of HR, she shows her creativity in being a passionate choir singer. So please welcome Fanny to our panel. Thank you, Fanny. Yeah, in the middle if you like. If you like this one, you can take this one. Okay, good. We are also thrilled, last but not least, to invite Julia Reingruber. She's Director of Talents and Culture at Familux Resorts, where she has been shaping company culture and driving talent development for nearly 2 years. Before taking on this role, she spent 3 years in online marketing within the group. And however, her entire career has always been centered around tourism. While she briefly explored other industries, her heart has always belonged to hospitality. One of the biggest goals of her is to restore the reputation of hospitality industry and to prove to all of us that this is the coolest industry you can be part of. Familux, with his 4 premium family hotels in Austria and Germany and his 2 catamaran boats, is the world's first and only luxury hotel group designed exclusively for families with children. We are excited to hear your insights and welcome you to the stage. Julia Reingruber. Gehst du in die Mitte? You just go to the middle? Okay. Last year, I visited a client in a very nice boutique hotel. And when I entered in the evening, because I made my check-in, then the front office manager, he was still there because he was covering a shift of another employee that did not show up. Okay, so we talked about the current situation in this hotel, and while we are driving our discussion to open positions and shortage of staff, a young lady entered this hotel. And she was very shy and very quiet, and she moved slowly to the reception desk. And then she said to the receptionist, "Many times I already walked by this hotel, but finally I got my courage to enter this hotel because I would like to apply for a job. And my question is, do you have any open positions? I will do any job because I really like this hotel." The receptionist was very polite. He grabbed a business card from under his desk, handed over the business card and told the lady, "Please, here's the email address. Send your application, and our HR department will come back." She took the card, nodded, and left the hotel. What do you think? Did she ever apply in this hotel? And while I was looking to the front office manager, and he was looking to me, I thought by myself, it's no surprise that we struggle getting in young talents when we behave like this. So we have opportunity, we have people with courage, motivated, they come in a hotel, they want to work for us. As you said, normally it takes 10 to 20 people to get one perfect match. Sometimes it's not even a perfect match, it's just a match. And then there's someone coming in a hotel and we don't even care about these people and send them back and ask them to apply in a very traditional, old-fashioned way. And this can happen anywhere in different situations. And I'm very happy that you are here with your expertise to go to this panel and answer some of these questions, because it's really important that we change something to make this the coolest industry again. Okay? So we want to see how we can attract people and how we can keep young talents, and what are your innovative strategies, what are your best practices, what are your ideas on this topic? And I really would like to invite you to follow this very actively and ask questions later on, burning questions that you want really to know from these people here on stage with their companies. Okay? So thank you very much. So let's start and dive right into our panel discussion. Nina, I would like to know from you and from the others as well, how the expectation of young professionals changed during the last years. What is your experience at your company?
Yeah, I think our experience is that one of the key motivators, also associated with the with young potential, is that they're looking for a structured and clear career development and career path.
Okay.
They really value a reasonable work-life balance. We can see that. They do look for flexibility, transparency, being also included in decision-making processes, being heard. And of course, we see that they do value flexibility a lot.
Okay. Funny from your side, from Aqua's side, do you agree on these?
Totally, I completely agree. They really want authenticity and they want us to be more innovative and agile, I will say, in addition.
We always say that we are a very flexible industry, but sometimes I think we are the most conservative industry in the world and not very flexible.
I guess we are flexible for our guests more than for our employees. So this is where we need to act and to be innovative to welcome our younger generation.
Okay. Julia, what are your experiences in your resorts?
The same, and we are very, very happy that we can bring schools very often in our resorts and ask them these questions. And they also have some kind of projects going on, like maybe just analyzing the website for the exact reason, like how is the onboarding going on, what do we do for advertisement, the first steps of the employer circle. So yeah, and they do really say that we should be more flexible, but also more visible. They really want to stay in touch at the very first moment of seeing the resort, and also to show them everything at first. They want to know everything, and maybe also to see the resort before they enter it in a kind of a VR presentation or whatever. Like, yeah.
Okay. What changes have you noticed in your company when it comes to service quality and guest experience? Because when you want to have flexibility and work-life balance, and you are a luxury resort and you have this luxury catamaran boats, so how does this affect the work, the daily work?
It's very good for the recruitment. What we see, we offer a lot of benefits for our employees. Nearly 20 of them. They're getting more and more. They're expecting more. But we also do, I'm very happy to say that a lot of surveys inside the company, also a big one every year, and we ask what they need. 3 years ago it was a lot of we created an academy for them because their thirst to getting to know something else was very deep. And now it's more like on the benefits side that they want to have their benefits for working more. You know, the people who work more should be given more benefits and so on. So we're planning on doing a little reformation, so to say. So yeah, I don't know where we're going to be next.
Jan, for your company, what do you see right now?
I mean, maybe to take the first question and to add something, I think on my perspective it changed into young people really want to add value. So it's not like, okay, you've got the job description, it's always in the interviews, okay, maybe I start as a junior, but where's my value? Because I want to have an impact on the company. And if you take the second one, then you'd say, okay, there's this, I would say, fight in between customer expectation and employee expectation, and it's mostly about free time, weekends, it's about Christmas, it's about all these days which are also important for these young employees, but this fight is coming up, and we try to solve it by asking them, as I said, as you mentioned, an engagement survey. We try to find out what they need and then to have the conversation what's possible and what not, and to be honest. And sometimes the answer is, look, I can see, I can feel you on a personal level, but it's not possible. And to be that honest is again honored by these employees.
Absolutely. absolutely. And you talked about the big picture and the cycle, and you can go do a good interview, but when the onboarding is not doing the same, it's not continuing, and development is not the same, then you will lose these people, and you will demotivate the young talents very, very quickly. Okay. Fanny, what challenges do you have in hiring people at Accor? Because you are a huge company with 40 brands. So what are your challenges that you face?
First, I will say it's to attract. We do have, we are working in an industry with, we can say we are very demanding in terms of shifts, because we know people are going to work during the weekend, during the night sometimes, so we need to be clear about that. So attracting people, and this young generation, because of that, it's more tricky. But we want to showcase who we are, so we did a big employer branding based on the really on proof points we do have in the organization. We want to showcase really who we are, and we wanted to showcase how hospitality is a great industry to work with. So that's why we launched the Hospitality is a Work of Art, which is our EVP, and we want to show all the proof points which will make sense for our candidates. And then we want to make it true when you arrive in the organization, so we work a lot on the onboarding of our new employees within the hotel to help them to understand who we are and then to be ready to be efficient and to enjoy.
Okay. Der Tour.
Yeah, I can fully also agree. It's sometimes a challenge to attract, especially in the hotel division. We have the challenge to attract young people to remote locations, of course. So that's definitely a challenge. And looking at the tour operator, also we have, we are a big group. We have more than 10,000 employees. We have a lot of brands. I can't count them actually. So I think it's also for us important because we see they want to have a strong purpose in their roles and then also belonging to the brand, to the company, and for us to really also make clear who we are, what kind of possibilities we provide, also internationally, because I think this is very important, career development. So this is something we're working on, and we just also rebranded ourselves to Der Tour Group. And I'm also super happy here at the RTB to see everywhere our Der Tour Group logos, because before it was very decentralized. So this is also something important for us.
Okay. Thank you very much. So we talked about these challenges, we talked about different points of view from young talents. Jan, going back to your keynote, you talked about culture. And I really wanted to know, what do you in your company do to create a nice work environment for Generation Z?
I mean, the first step in my perspective is to build up the awareness that every one of you, of us, can build up this culture. So there's not this culture the company brings in and they're talking about this one. It's really the employees, and everyone can tip on their own nose and say, what am I going to do to bring the culture in the way and the feel how I want it to be. So, and if you let this go and say you can give left and right boundaries as company and support quite a direction. And what we do, we provide, for example, a parents' office. Okay. We provide yoga lessons during the working time. So there's a lot in the headquarters we do, and that's quite easier than in the hotels. And in the hotels, I think the big thing is you are your own entrepreneur. So in our structure, we've got GmbHs. They are our own legal entities, and you can do within the B&B world, left and right boundary, accepting your own business. It's your P&L, and you can do and act how you want to act and really be on the ground, and that's the biggest benefit I think we have.
Okay, thank you. If we look at Accor, how do you create this workplace for Gen Zs?
Yes.
Because sometimes we work in our head offices, so we do more strategic, but how do you really bring it down into the hotels?
So we want to make sure that we do have a leadership values shared everywhere. So we do have a global leadership program, and we train all our leaders around the world, and GMs in particular, to make sure we infuse this culture. Okay. Within the hotel. So this is how we are tackling this topic. And also when we talk about Gen Z, we are piloting some process, like the 4 days at work process in few of our brands.
For the same salary of 5 days.
Yes, but you're working a bit more per day. Okay. But still, you can organize yourself for 4 days, and it's a big win. It's a big plus. I mean, people appreciate that, and it's more tricky for the general manager to organize the planning, for sure. But still, it's a big plus when we want to attract this generation.
So that they can have their work-life balance and do something else instead of just working every day?
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's good for retention too.
Do you also offer a four-day week, paying 5 days?
Yes, we do, but more often used is the 6 days a week. It's very, very interesting in our company. We offer the 4 days a week. It was also created when the academy started, and we thought everyone is going to change now, or everything is going to change, but it was the other way around, and it's not that asked very often. But what is more asked is about job opportunities, of course, and to be involved in processes and to be very flexible. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So we see it's totally different. At Accor, it's more the 4 days week, and in your resort, they're asking for 6 and 7 day weeks.
Yes, but we're very remote. So yeah, they come often for working, and it's also very interesting because attracting is not so. It is very important to us, but not how to say. It's not so easy because we have 600, 700 CVs every month for in every resort. So to pick the right ones is the most important thing to do and the hard thing to do with us. Like not attracting, but recruiting the right stuff. Yes.
Okay. And Nina, how do you create a Generation Z work environment at your company?
Just to add to this, what we also, of course, have like 4 days a week. We promote well-being with free or discounted wellness or sports programs. We have now focused with my role especially in giving an answer for the career development topic. So we started, and because we also started to have now really like a better feedback processes for the whole group, but especially also for the hotel division. And there we really care that it's not just a top-down feedback process, but we change that to like a dialogue, a performance-oriented dialogue, where we really look together on career development, on skill building. And I think this is something that we just launched last year. And result of this big process is that we identify talents, that we also develop in an overarching international leadership program, as well as we do have like digital learning modules. We call it the learning nuggets that we offer also to the hotel division to give an answer on self-directive learning for Gen Z, but also because we have the people everywhere, like very internationally, we can't bring them all to one room. But I think these are like on top things that we are doing now, really focusing on how can we give answers for development. And also international connectivity.
Okay, thank you. When I do my training sessions, I often do leadership trainings, and then I have the department heads in these training sessions. So these are normally a different generation than the employee they have to lead. And normally they say it's so complicated to be a leader nowadays because the Gen Z generation has a total different view of the work that we do every day. And my question to you is, what do you do in your companies to integrate really Gen Z employees in the existing employees that you have? What do you do? Who wants to answer this? Do you have any programs, or what do you try to do to integrate these people? Because Gen Z, they really have different opinions sometimes.
So speaking for then the tour operator more, we do have like the program that we have really workshops, also helping everyone to deal with the generation and what they really have and expectations. And we have, for example, changed our staffing in project management now, that it's not just the project manager are doing it, but we now want people that join projects because of their interest. And this is something where we really see a lot of like applicants internal applicants from this generation because they do value, oh, I can do something else. I want to do the project because it's something that is helping me in my daily work. So this is something we're trying now out, staffing based on interest.
Okay. Julia, you wanted to add something as well.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say that we're having like a buddy program for the recruitment, and that's something that is now working very, very well also with the Gen Zs, because they want to grab someone and be very socialized at first and see everything, as I also said before. So yeah, buddy programs do work very well with us.
I think this has a lot to do with culture as well, to break up or open a new mindset and teach the department heads that nowadays an employee, when he's hired for 8 hours to work, he only wants to work 8 hours and not 10 or 12 or 14 as we were used when we were young. How is it?
Yeah, on the one hand, it's always in the press and you say they don't want to work that long and so on, but really give them the chance to add value. And on my perspective, they work. It's independently which generation they are. If they see the value, if they've got the feeling, we are not breaking stones, but building a cathedral out of these stones, they're going to work. And they don't gonna ask and say, it's 7.5 hours later and I'm going to have free time. But you have to get this value to the people. And then you have to ask your leadership, are you inclusive? Do you really listen to their needs, to their ideas, and so on? And if you don't, then you will ask the question how they are so difficult.
Okay.
If you don't.
And Jan, and how do you find out what are the values for them?
The values, it's depending on the department or hotels, and it can be everything. So, for example, one answer is the value, how can I add the customer experience and the topic of trust you, because I want to see them smile and I want to leave them the hotel and say thank you. That can be one value. But what I want to say with this one, dependingly on the individual person, the value they will seek for their self. But ask yourself, did you ask your colleagues and maybe your young generation Z, or independently which generation, what's your value? What's your value? Mark, for example.
It's a good thing. Just ask these people what they want to have. What are their values? Funny.
And so maybe it's with our engagement survey. So we are rolling out this engagement survey to 200K employees around the world.
Exactly.
We are focusing on the -20 and -25, which is for us a very interesting way to understand what they are looking for in particular. It's exactly what you said. And career path is one of the most important still. With this population, with flexibility and diversity. And so that's why we are building dedicated program for them. So at the head office, we have a dedicated program for IPOs, young leaders, but also within the hotel, we do have fast track program for those who want to become GM or HOD faster than we could do on a regular basis. So it's also the way we are answering to this need.
Okay, so we already talked about trends, we already talked about culture. Just a quick view into digitalization, and this is your part. So how does digitalization helps you to attract and to keep young talents in your company? So what programs, platforms do you use?
So in fact, just after COVID, we had to be quicker in the way we had to recruit. So we decided to make a big change in the way we use the digitalization of this part. So first, we decided to change our Accor Career website with a more efficient one, with a good search result in Google. For sure, it was one of the most important piece. We changed the ATS also, the way we recruit, the back office, with a very efficient one. The GM can recruit very quickly. We can quickly give an answer to our employees. And the last piece we put in place is the assessment. We have an assessment which is based on non-bias. So we want to make sure we recruit on who you are and not on your personality and not something else. And as an employee, a future employee or candidate, or as a manager, you do have a report. So you know what is the feedback which has been given to the recruiter, which is super important for us to have a good experience in terms of attraction, even if we don't recruit the person. So this is what we decided to change. And we want to innovate always on the digital side, because we know that this generation is looking for that, obviously.
Okay, thank you. Nina, you already talked about your career program with the self-learning tools. Anything else, any other platform that you use to attract people or to keep them?
Yeah, so we started a lot about social media, also for retaining people. We do have like Atsubi Instagram channel, so which is like apprentices Instagram channel, because we feel like they speak more the language of the young generation. They can make stronger sense of belonging. So this is something what we use. And other than that, for us it's very important to also emphasize on this kind of digital connectivity, feeling also part of our group. And that's why, for example, we're now rolling out an international intranet. This should also help for collaboration and stuff. So.
Okay. Jan, do you also use TikTok or Snapchat or any other platform to attract young talents to your company?
We've got TikTok, so please feel free. But to be honest, for me, the most precious IT solution is the HRIS, as I mentioned, because you've got the pace, you've got the control about all the data, you've got the combination of all work streams, and you decrease the workload of your leadership team and also of your employees in doing standard things, sickness, pushes or notes, the topic of your working attendance, your absence, and so on. So you gain time for them to, and that's the core, have conversation about how's your development, what's your performance, how do you feel, happy to have you back, let's talk about salary increase. So this is the reason for me to bring in this digitalization, and as I said, HRS, this core system is the most important one for me.
Okay. To solve standard procedures,
exactly.
This is a digitalization, to have more time to do the one-to-ones.
Yeah. For everyone, employees, leaders, company.
Good. Julia, in your resorts, what do you use?
You've all said great things. That's also what we do in our company. I think it's important to, I'm in a situation that we're a very young hotel group, and we grew up with digitalization. We have very young leaders, so they speak the same language as this generation. So for us it's not so hard maybe to implement new stuff, but now we're reaching a point that it's getting too early, too quick, and we have to take a step back. But yeah, we also do that, and we see that the younger generation adapts it and wants also to be part in it, and to be innovative and create a step. And yes.
Okay, cool. Before we go to the Q&As, where you can ask your questions to the panel, I just want to ask you to give us one best practice, just one best practice. What do you do in your company to or attract or to keep young talents, except that you already mentioned?
I will go with one.
Yeah, you can start if you like.
It was an interesting initiative we had. We call it, it's in French, Job au Talent, which is an initiative. So we are recruiting in specific place, exactly what you said with the truck.
You go to the
We go to
trackers?
the concert hall. We go to sports events, and we just go and we recruit without a resume. And we just are in the place that people are.
That's really out of the box.
Exactly. So it was super efficient. It's something we launched now everywhere. And it's a very good initiative to meet future candidates very easily.
I think that's very, very good, because sometimes I'm asked, so how will we get people to work in breakfast service, for example? And I say, go to the kindergarten, stand in front of the kindergarten and talk to the mummies and daddies who bring their children and offer them a four-hour job or 6-hour job per day to work in a breakfast restaurant, for example. So you really have to go where the people are. Yeah. Okay. Very good best practice. What do you do, Julia?
Also what we do as well, I think in attracting young generations is also the benefits, as I mentioned, very important. You already mentioned we have 2 yards in Croatia. That's very cool to say at fairs or so, when people ask, you can't just work only in the hotels, but you can work barefoot as well on a yard and be part of it, and giving young generations this kind of opportunity. We see it's a very big attraction point for them. So yes, and also of course academies, trainings, and yeah.
In preparation of this panel, you told me also that you have people from Greece.
Exactly,
working
yes,
in your
yes.
resorts, and that you send people from Austria or Germany to Greece to
Yes.
make some experiences. So what is the
yes,
the
that's a
outcome?
project now going on for 2 years. It was like a small accident. Rolling Pin, the newspaper, came to us, and they connected the general manager from a hotel group in Greece, and we talked, and he said he's offering his employees after the season that they're going to be in a big place where they can learn and come back in April, and he's searching for resorts that are picking them, and he had nearly 200 of them. I said yes. We did a little project with 3 of them last year. This year it was nearly 5 of them joining us, and yeah, they are now already back in the resort. Some of them are coming back, but also we've sent one of our employees down there, and he came back, and I think that's the most important thing, not to create this field of concurrence, but to share the employees, and the best thing is that they come back and
Okay. Sometimes we are competitors, but we don't have to be, because when they have a high season, you have a low season, and the other way around. I think that's very, very good. It's a cool benefit for people to travel, to see something different cultures. Okay, Nina.
So what
your best practice?
Yeah, what actually proves very successful currently, it's not super innovative, but it's a referral program. Like 10% of our hires in the hotel division last year came from the referral program, and we even have much higher rates. For example, our tour operator and specialist business in the UK. And we see that these people that we get through the referral program also stay longer, because they also already know who we are and what the culture is like. So this is something that we are promoting and want to promote even more, and also other divisions. Yeah.
Thank you. Jan, EMB.
I told you and you all guys about my ideas about what I think is core, but I think maybe to point out this storytelling, what are the daily business hospitality stories, that's the USP of hospitality, and to, with this way, attract people, that's one best practice for me.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your insights. Thank you very much for your ideas that you shared with us. And right now I would like to invite you to ask some questions. So who wants to be the first one to ask a question, or even to challenge some of the point that we mentioned here on stage? You don't have to be all at the same time. Yes, please. I think we have a microphone anywhere. So, or you speak up loud so we can hear you.
I'll try to.
Okay.
I just already handed in my question by a Slido, but I'll just do it in person again. I was just interested in how each of you would have handled the situation.
So you're interested?
Yeah, I was interested in how each of you would have handled the situation that Mark was describing in the beginning, especially if the front office manager wasn't the front office manager, but just a normal part of the staff. So how can we train our normal staff, not being in leadership positions, to be active and open for any applicants?
To whom you address your question?
I'd like to address it to Nina.
Nina.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think it's very important that it's a culture thing, right? So if the person feels the person at the front office feels kind of ownership and feels that he can decide and he be included, he could maybe act more proactively and just say, okay, yes, let's chat. So do you have any questions? And I think that's also very important, also for the younger generation. You said it already. They want to be heard. They want to be valued, included in the decision-making process. And if you have like a very traditional, hierarchical-oriented culture, then something like this happens. Yeah, that you say, okay, it's not my responsibility. I give it to the HR department, and maybe they come back to you. Probably not.
Thank you, Nina. You really have to break up your procedures, your internal procedures, and you have to implement a new culture. And then you give these people the opportunity to act directly. So don't do the old way, do the new way, okay? I think we don't have time for another question, unfortunately, but I thank you very much for being here with us on the stage. Thank you, the audience. If you have any questions, these guys are here. Take the opportunity, go directly to them and ask them your question. Thank you very much.